I guess first describe where we are and why we're here.
Okay, so we're currently located at 1520 Gordon Highway, the Augusta Lodge, the Gordon Highway Inn. We basically have just had a number of calls, complaints, activity going on here that results in violent incidents, lots of kind of just a crime-ridden hotel, basically, at this point. The reason that we all came out here today, we had the Richmond County Sheriff's Office, my office, we had people from probation, code enforcement, the fire department, Department of Family and Children's Services, Department of Health. We were out here basically just doing a kind of an investigative sweep, more or less. We had seen a lot of issues of mold and other unsanitary conditions going on. There's lots of kids that live here. So basically, Investigator Gibbs from my office had made contact and with all of the various agencies to try to kind of come in and do a particularized effort that kind of combated all of these issues. And actually, at this point, Building B, which is the building standing directly behind you, is going to be condemned and shut down today.
Why? What all did you guys find here today that led to that decision?
So there's one room specifically upstairs. It's completely mold infested. There's also a bug infestation in one of the rooms. There's a significant, we observed smoke coming out of one of the bathrooms, one of the vacant bathrooms, and there appears to be a pretty significant leak that's posing a very significant electrical hazard. So the water's going to have to be cut off to that building because of that. But there's lots of just kind of unsanitary conditions. We found a couple of kids that are not enrolled in school, so we're trying to get, figure out what we're going to do with them right now. But basically, for people that are trying to find a place to stay, this is a relatively inexpensive hotel. It's still not providing a very sanitary environment, especially for the kids.
What has to happen for something like to get to this point? Because there are probably plenty of properties in town that you guys get a complaint here or there about, but in order to have something like this with this many agencies, what had to happen to get here?
We get hundreds of calls a month to this location, hundreds, and this has been an ongoing issue with this particular hotel. I filed a lawsuit against them back in 2017 but to address various safety concerns that I had in terms of it being a nuisance. And essentially we continuously find stolen vehicles in here. We have lots of prostitution in here, but ultimately, on the off chance, we've had multiple instances recently involving gun violence, and myself as well as several of my investigators spend a significant amount of time out here, and the biggest concern that we all collectively had were the fact that there are just very small children walking around out here, and any of them are just in extreme danger, in my opinion.
How common is it for people to be living in a hotel like this? I mean, because when I said hotel, when I thought hotel and then you said people are living here, those two things might not match up with kind of what people typically think of a hotel.
So this is you can pay on a week-to-week basis. I mean, you can also pay on a day-to-day basis. But I mean, we've got some people that have been living in here for in excess of a year. And so, maybe they can't find stable housing, or maybe they just can't afford to pay, on a monthly basis. So week to week is all that they can afford. But at the same time, they still deserve to live in a place that, is sanitary and certainly not a hazard to their health like that mold is producing.
Have you all been able to get in touch with the owner or the manager?
So I know the owner. I deal with the owner on a regular basis, Mr. Paine. He is, I'm told that he's in one of his other properties out of state, but the manager, who also has a pretty long-standing relationship with this property, he's been here for a long time, he is on site.
So who's held responsible? Is it them, the owner of this property?
The owner of the business. So right now what will happen is, like I said, Building B will be shut down. There's still there's no citations being issued today. Basically, they will be afforded the opportunity to have about 30 days to fix several of the problems. There's still some other issues with Building A, which is not being shut down. So he'll have 30 days to fix those issues, and then, but in the meantime, he'll have to pull permits and make sure that it's done by a licensed contractor, being that this is something that's open to the public, and it could potentially affect his business license for future operation as well.
What about repetitive crime? When does crime get to a point, or does it ever get to a point where, if, like you said, if you are coming out here hundreds of times, does the business owner ever face any repercussions because of repetitive crime?
So that's why in 2017 I filed a lawsuit under the nuisance law, stating that this property is a nuisance. In that case, the owner was ordered to complete several things, one of which was, for example, security cameras. And here recently, we had come out here after a couple of incidences. In one in particular, we had a man that had been shot, and their video cameras weren't working. So, we always have that route. It wasn't, particularly successful the last route. We did get a couple of things accomplished, but we are trying to make a more concerted effort to kind of get rid of these consistent problems in our community.
Perfect. Jazz, anything else that you can think of?
What was the most recent instance of crime? Because I think I saw you guys last week
Out here. Literally officers respond out here multiple times every day. And rarely would there be a day that goes by without Richmond County getting a call for service here. I know that there was a prior instance, like I said, with a man that had been shot in the chest, as well as when we were looking into that incident, we discovered a room had bullet holes in it that they had not reported, which is also an issue, especially when you've got, two major thoroughfares right here, Gordon Highway and Peach Orchard Road. There's, probably 1,000 or more cars a day that come through, pass by here. So, but we have had multiple instances where people are shot running out in the middle of the street, or people shot here in the rooms, those types of things.
I think that's all we needed.
One guy ride his vehicle through a hotel room one day, like on purpose. Yeah, this is crazy out here. It's like the Wild West.
Would you like to see this shut down?
I would love to see this hotel shut down. I would love to see it shut down and bulldozed. To be honest with you, the rooms are so disgusting in some instances that, it's been like this for such a long time. I have very little faith that the hotel will ever be brought up to code or up to standard. And essentially I feel like they're taking advantage of people that can't pay or afford, and that, that is a problem in and of itself. But on top of all of that, we've got little kids that when we saw probably 15 or 20 kids get off the school bus yesterday that come here, and this is where they live, and they don't know that mold is growing and completely infested in the room next door, and that's just not right.